The stars had always been there, watching silently. For most of human history, they were just lights in the sky. But now, in the year 2147, humans were reaching out into space with ships, stations, and dreams of more than just Earth. Far away, beyond what humans could see, a vast empire ruled thousands of worlds. This empire had lasted for centuries. Its ships moved like storms between stars, and no one had dared to challenge them. Until now. A small scout ship from the Empire was sent to check on a strange signal. It came from a planet called Earth. The scouts saw cities, satellites, even a few bases on the moon. Nothing special by imperial standards, but it was growing fast. The Emperor's council debated what to do. Some said ignore it. Others said destroy it before it became a threat. In the end, they chose a message. Not a bomb, not a fleet, but a warning. They sent a single ship, sleek and silent, to hover near Mars. It waited for a response. When humans finally noticed it, the world stopped breathing. Governments scrambled. Scientists argued. Generals made plans. The message from the Empire was clear. Stop expanding or be erased. On a cold morning in Geneva, a group of people met inside a large, underground room. Among them was Mike Carter, a Navy officer with tired eyes and steady hands. He had seen war before and didn't want to see it again. Beside him stood Lisa Bennett, a scientist who believed knowledge was stronger than fear. They're giving us a choice, Lisa said, to keep building or to stop. Or die, Mike replied. The others argued for hours. Some wanted peace at any cost. Others thought the aliens were bluffing. But Mike and Lisa knew better. Whatever this empire was, it did not ask twice. Finally, the decision came from the United Nations Space Command. Humanity would not stop. They would not run. The reply was short and bold. We are not afraid. When the message reached the alien ship, silence followed. Then, without warning, the ship turned and vanished into the stars. Back at the meeting, Lisa looked at Mike. Do you think they'll come back? She asked. Mike stared at the screen where the alien ship had been. Yeah, he said quietly, and next time, they won't be asking. The alien ship returned to its empire with the human reply, we are not afraid. No one on Earth knew what would come next, but they didn't have to wait long. 6 days later, a second fleet arrived. This time, it was bigger. Dozens of ships formed a line near Mars, their metal hulls reflecting the red light of the planet. The humans had expected this. They sent their own ships to meet the aliens, 5 small vessels built for peace, not war. Leading the human delegation was Captain Dan Hale, a calm man with sharp eyes and a steady voice. He stood aboard the UNSC Liberty, a ship built for diplomacy, not battle. With him were scientists, diplomats, and even a few soldiers, just in case things went wrong. They reached the meeting point. The alien commander spoke through a translator drone. His voice was cold and deep. You were warned, he said. You did not obey. Dan took a breath. We are not your subjects. We are not your enemies. We only want to live and explore, like any other species. The alien paused. Then he said, You are weak. You do not understand power. Dan held his ground. Maybe not, but we know courage. Tension filled the air. The alien envoy refused to talk further. He gave one final warning. Leave space, stay on your world, or be removed. Dan tried to keep talking, but the alien shut off communication. The Imperial ships began to move into attack formation. Back on Earth, alarms sounded. People watched the live feed from space, hearts pounding. Some thought the aliens would leave. Others feared the worst. Then, without warning, a single shot was fired. No one knew who fired first. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was planned. But once that shot rang out, everything changed. A nearby human station exploded in fire and silence. Another followed. The UNSC Liberty barely escaped as enemy ships opened fire across the sky. Dan got back to Earth with a message burned into his mind. They don't want peace. They want control. Governments around the world reacted. Cities began to prepare. Factories switched to making weapons. Civilians joined the effort. Fear turned into anger, and anger turned into resolve. On the news, one phrase started to spread. They told us to run. We brought guns. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a home worth fighting for, and humanity was ready. The attack changed everything. What had once been fear turned into fire. Across Earth, people who had never held a weapon before began to train. Factories that built cars now made armor. Schools became command centers. The war had come to them, uninvited, and humans were done talking. Dan Hale stood in front of a global broadcast, his voice calm but firm. They came here thinking we'd fall like others did. They were wrong. Back in Geneva, Lisa Bennett worked with a team of scientists trying to understand the alien tech found on the destroyed station near Mars. She looked at the broken pieces on her desk. Strange metal, glowing wires, parts that still hummed with unknown energy. This isn't just advanced, she said. It's different. Mike Carter walked in holding a report. We lost 3 more satellites. They're watching us. Lisa nodded. Then let's make sure they see something worth remembering. Meanwhile, in a small hackerspace under an old building in Chicago, Eric Nelson stared at 6 screens at once. He was young, barely 30, with tired eyes and fast fingers. Once just a game programmer, he was now one of the most important men in the war. He had broken into the alien comm systems. They're planning another strike, he whispered, this time on Earth. He sent the data to every military base, every government server, even posted it online for anyone who could use it. Within minutes, the world knew what the Empire was planning. Jessica Taylor, a Marine sergeant stationed in Colorado, read the message and stood up. Time to move, she said. She gathered her unit, not as soldiers but as protectors of home. There was no retreat, no plan to hide, just the will to stand and fight. Across the planet, people shared videos, messages, and plans. A farmer in Texas helped build power cells for defense towers. Gamers in Seoul flew drones like fighter jets. Engineers in Brazil modified railguns to shoot down alien ships. Earth wasn't just fighting back, it was evolving, and the galaxy was about to learn a new truth. Humans didn't run. They adapted. And when pushed too far, they hit back harder than anyone expected. The Empire thought they were facing a weak, divided species. They were about to find out just how wrong they were. The sky turned red with fire, not from the sun, but from ships falling. The Empire had come to take Earth, and Earth was ready to punch back. Massive alien warships floated above the continents, firing beams of energy that cracked mountains and melted steel. But this time, humanity wasn't defenseless. Every major city had hidden weapons, railguns buried under parks, missile silos disguised as farms, and orbiting satellites armed with homemade explosives. Dan Hale stood in a command center deep under New York. Maps and live feeds filled the screens. He watched as enemy drop pods fell toward the surface like burning rain. Tell every station, hold the line, he said. Mike Carter was on the front lines near the remains of what used to be Dallas. Now it was a battlefield. Alien drones buzzed, overhead like metal insects scanning for targets. Then came the boots, alien soldiers in black armor moving fast. Mike raised his rifle. Don't let them land. He fired. So did hundreds of others. Lasers and bullets lit up the night. Explosions tore through the sky as human pilots in modified fighter jets dove between enemy ships, shooting with skill born from desperation. Above the Pacific Ocean, Lisa Bennett worked with a team trying to hack into the alien fleet's systems. They had only one shot at this. If we can shut down even half their shields, she said, we might have a chance. Eric Nelson sat beside her, fingers flying over keys. Sweat dripped down his face. I'm in, he said. But not for long. He sent out a virus, a digital punch straight into the heart of the enemy's network. Across the sky, alien ships flickered. Their weapons stuttered. Some lost power completely. Jessica Taylor led a squad through the ruins of a spaceport where aliens had landed. Her team moved fast, using smoke and noise to confuse the enemy. She carried a heavy cannon made from scrap parts and stolen tech. She aimed at a massive alien walker and fired. Boom. It fell like a tree in a storm. Cities burned, yes. People died. But so did the invaders. And then something happened that hadn't. In centuries, an empire that ruled thousands of worlds felt fear. One of their commanders sent a message back home. These humans are not normal. They were told to run. Instead, they fought, and they weren't done yet. The empire did not take defeat lightly. After losing ships and soldiers to Earth's unexpected resistance, they sent a message clear and cold. This war was no longer about control. It was about destruction. A massive armada arrived at the edge of the solar system. Dozens of dreadnoughts, each one larger than a city, lined up like gods ready to strike down mortals. With them came weapons never used on a human level. Planet crackers, psionic drones, and gravity mines that could tear space apart. Earth watched as the fleet moved closer. Dan Hale stood in the command center under Geneva, staring at the screen. The numbers didn't lie. This time the enemy wasn't testing them, they were trying to erase them. Across the planet, people braced for the worst. Schools became bunkers. Farmers built shelters. Gamers flew drones like fighter pilots. Everyone had a role. Mike Carter helped train new recruits, teaching them how to fight an enemy that thought it was unstoppable. They don't know what we're made of, he said. Lisa Bennett worked with scientists to find a way past the alien shields. They had taken hits before, but now the enemy had learned. Their defenses were stronger. We need something they can't predict, she said. Eric Nelson found it. He discovered the Empire used psychic signals to control parts of their army. If he could break that link, even for a few minutes, the enemy would be blind. It's risky, he told Lisa, but it might be our only shot. Jessica Taylor led a team behind enemy lines. Her mission was simple: destroy the landing base before more troops came down. She jumped from a flying transport, landed hard, and ran through fire and smoke. Her team followed, moving fast, striking hard. Back in orbit, Earth's fleet, small, damaged, but full of heart, moved to intercept the incoming armada. They weren't just defending a planet anymore. They were defending the right to exist. As the first wave hit, something strange happened. The alien psychic attack began, meant to break morale, to fill minds with fear and despair. But humans didn't fall. Their minds were too wild, too unpredictable. Love, rage, hope, pain. They fought back with thoughts the aliens couldn't control. The Empire saw this and knew. This was no ordinary species, and Earth was not done fighting, not by a long shot. The Empire had never faced a species like this. They were not broken by fear. They did not kneel. They fought with everything they had, and then made more. After surviving the massive alien attack, Earth was no longer just defending. They were planning something bold. Dan Hale stood on the command deck of what used to be a science station orbiting the moon. Now it was a war room. Maps of space lit up the walls. Every plan was risky, but one stood out. We hit them where they live, he said. Mike Carter looked at the data. You're talking about jumping into their space. Not just that, Dan said. We bring the fight to them. Back on Earth, Lisa Bennett and her team worked nonstop. They had studied captured alien ships, learned how their tech worked, and built weapons that could hurt the Empire where it hurt most. This isn't just defense anymore, she told the others. This is warning. Eric Nelson cracked open. Enemy codes finding hidden bases across the stars. He sent everything to Earth Command. Weak points, supply lines, even the location of the Imperial core world. Jessica Taylor read the mission list and smiled. We finally get to punch up, she said. Across the planet, humans came together. Pilots, engineers, soldiers, hackers, all of them helped build a fleet fast enough to jump across space. Not a peaceful fleet, a war fleet. They called it the Human Strike Force. In secret, dozens of ships loaded with weapons, troops, and new tech vanished into the dark. The Empire still thought they were winning. Their leaders believed Earth would fall soon. But then messages started coming in. A mining world lost contact. A military base exploded without warning. An entire patrol vanished. The Empire didn't know what was happening. Until the human strike, force appeared above one of their key colonies. The message from Earth was clear. You thought you were gods. We proved you bleed. Ships fired, bombs dropped, drones swarmed, and for the first time in centuries, the Empire felt fear. Back home, people watched as videos spread across the net. Humans flying through alien skies, taking down towers, showing the galaxy that Earth was not just a planet. It was a force, and the war wasn't over yet. But now, the Empire knew. They had made a big mistake. They told humans to run. Instead, they came to fight. The Empire pulled back. They had no choice. After centuries of unbroken rule, they had met a species that did not fear them. A species that fought, harder when told to stop. Earth was still standing. Dan Hale watched from orbit as the last alien ships vanished into deep space. The battle was over, but the future had just begun. He looked at the reports coming in, damage, losses, victories, but more than that, he saw hope. Mike Carter stood beside him. "They'll come back," he said. "Maybe," Dan replied. "But next time we'll be ready for more than just one fight." Back on Earth, people came out of shelters and bunkers. Cities were damaged, some destroyed, but life returned fast. Not with fear, but with pride. Children played under banners that read, "We were told to run. We brought guns." Lisa Bennett led the effort to rebuild, not just homes, but knowledge. She worked with scientists to understand what they had won: alien tech, human strength, and something even more powerful: freedom. Eric Nelson disappeared again like he always did after big missions. But before he left behind files, codes, and messages hidden across the net. Some said they pointed to secrets far beyond the Empire. Others believed they were warnings. Jessica Taylor became head of planetary defense. She trained soldiers, pilots, and civilians alike. Her message was always the same: we don't start wars, but if someone tries to end ours, we finish it. Across the stars, the name human now meant something new. Not weakness, not fear, but danger. Alien traders reached out, wanting peace. Smaller colonies asked for help, and some worlds once ruled by the Empire began to whisper, "If humans can fight back, maybe we can too." Years passed. Earth built ships strong enough to travel farther than ever before, not just to defend, but to explore, to trade, to meet others who had also been afraid. And above it all, on the far side of the moon, a monument was built. To those who were told to run, we chose to fight. The war had changed everything, not because Earth won, but because it proved one truth to the whole galaxy: you do not mess with humans.